Hello and welcome back to All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris and I am your host. I'm really delighted to have the opportunity to expose you to the AC Transit Board of Directors. We have a member of the AC Transit Board, Mark Williams, who is going to be with me for a few minutes to talk about the AC Transit system. A system that's been around for a long time. I remember when I came to California back in 1860, I think it was called the Key System or something like that. But anyway, it has been around a long time. It serves the people well. And today we're going to find out a lot about how it operates. But first, Mark, could you give me a little bit about your background?
Born and raised in Oakland. I want to thank your viewers for being here. You allowed me to be here today working in AC Transit.
It's my pleasure.
Born and raised in Oakland, East Oakland, High Street and Congress.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Good. Where'd you go to high school?
St. Elizabeth and Fruitvale.
Okay.
Yeah, so, High Street, Fruitvale area, International, E14, however you know it, that's home for me.
Okay. Any school after that?
I went to Tuskegee University for a year.
Tuskegee,
yeah.
Alabama.
It was quite a different.
Yeah.
It was quite a difference. It was a good experience.
Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons.
Booker T. Washington.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I went there was the Tuskegee Airmen. I was always into aerospace and science and that kind of stuff. So I chose there, but I found that when you're in high school, maybe if you want to be an aerospace engineer, you should take more sciences and math. So it didn't necessarily work out, but. I came back home and went to Laney College.
Oh, yeah.
And
I went to America.
Oh, okay. Crossed along. And spent time there. And, I was sort of aimless, didn't know really what I wanted to do. And one day, Ron Dellum showed up and announced his campaign for mayor of Oakland.
I remember that well.
And I'd always been interested in politics and government. And, my favorite subjects were social studies and government. So I was like, let me put my money where my mouth is and go and maybe, hear what's going on and get active. So it was at the auditorium, I believe.
It was, right.
I attended and, liked what I heard. And he, right after he spoke, he ducked out. And I was like, let me introduce myself, see if there's something I can do. And I went and did that. And he gave me his card and he said, come by the office one day. And, that day I went home and I had no idea what a political campaign was. So I went to Wikipedia and typed the political campaign and, got myself a little familiar with what was going to happen, what goes on. And next day, I showed up, and I didn't tell my parents this until I got elected, but I wasn't going to class the rest of the semester. I was going there every day.
When did you how long have you been on the board?
A decade now.
So you ran at a very young age then?
I got elected when I was 24.
Ooh, wow.
2010 was my first election.
Did you have any competition?
I did. So, a gentleman, his name was Rocky Fernandez, he was in the seat before me, and he decided not to run at the last minute. And when that happens, the Register of Voters will extend the filing deadline if the incumbent doesn't run. And a friend of mine who was on the board said, I know you've always been interested in politics, you worked on a bunch of different campaigns, do you think you'd be interested? Because I know you live in the district. And I was like, I'm still too young, I don't know, maybe I don't know what I'm doing. He's like, take a little bit and think about it. So I thought about it for 15 minutes, and it was, what do I have to lose? Either I'm going to win, and I'll get the seat, and if I lose, no one will have expected me to win anyway, so there's nothing to lose, really. So
and you won!
I ended up winning.
At age 24?
24.
How did you feel as a young member of the board?
It was,
what was that like?
It took a while to get my feet wet and to understand. Truthfully, I think it took my first turn to really figure out what the hell I was doing, honestly. My grandfather used to work for AC Transit. He was there over 35 years. So
he worked for AC Transit?
He did. He was an operator. So I, called him for advice, and I had one of the board members that I knew. He gave me advice, and there's other people in politics that I met along the way, and eventually I found my way. I found that where I really felt I came into my being a director was our first contract negotiations and figuring out how to, be a good board member and, help get a good contract that was good for the district, good for our riders, and good for our employees. And, it's a bit contentious like they usually are, which I found out. And, we got the contract, and I was like, I finally felt that I had, arrived. And
now, is your grandfather still alive?
He is.
I know he's very proud of you, right?
He is very, very proud of me. He used to, I would ride the bus with him occasionally, and his last day he drove, we were on the route with him and stuff like that, and I sometimes we talk about, going back, thinking at that time, we never would have thought that I would be one of the bosses
on the board.
on the board.
Now, what is the length of term?
So each term is 4 years.
Mhm.
I mean, assuming a director doesn't step down and someone got appointed to fill their term, maybe they have less. But generically, it's 4-year term, no term limits.
So you can stay on forever.
I don't know this guy. Well, unless you can live forever. But otherwise, yes, a lot of our board members have been there a while, very well seasoned. We've had a Diane Shaw from that's the district south of me, District Ward 5, I should say. She's a newer member, but most of the
who is the current chair?
we have presidents. Our current
President,
president is Joe Wallace right now, and the vice president is Elsa Ortiz.
And how is the board structured?
So we have 7 board members. 5 are at 2 are at large, so they represent the entire district, like the large council member for Oakland. And then we have 5 wards. So there's Ward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am the director for Ward 5, which encompasses the unincorporated communities in Alameda County, so Ashland, Cherryland, Fairview, Castro Valley, San Lorenzo, those communities. And then I have about a third of San Leandro, and then about 2/3 of the city of Haywood.
So you represent District 5, you say?
Ward 4.
Ward 4. Oh, they call them wards.
Yeah,
okay.
wards.
Okay. That's good to know. We are going to have to go to break. We're talking with Mark Williams, who is a very young man who 10 years ago became Alameda County District district champion, who became a member of the board of the Transit District of Alameda County. Don't touch that remote. We will be right back with All About Community.
Hi, I'm Robert Bob Jackson. I'm running for city council, and listen, I need your vote. I need your support. And also, I want to tell you that we're going to deal with affordable housing. We're going to deal with the homeless issues. We're going to deal with problems that's been in District 7 for way too long. I plan on making a change. Leadership you can trust. Vote for Robert Bob Jackson. I'm Robert Bob Jackson, and I approve of this message.
Rebecca Kaplan puts progressive values in action.
We have a responsibility to stand together in solidarity.
For those who are breathing toxic air every day, we will continue to work together to strengthen our efforts.
Join us and vote Rebecca Kaplan for Oakland City Council.
On November 3rd, East Oakland will make a critical choice. Your vote is about saving the Oakland we love. Shortages of affordable housing, homelessness, blight, and safety. And because we're at a crossroad, we need change. We need leadership that is responsive to the people. Marcy Hodge will see us through the challenges and fight for our district. Do your part, and she'll do hers.
I'm Marcy Hodge, your candidate for Oakland City Council District 7. Let's save Oakland together.
Hello and welcome back to All About Community. When we went to break, we were talking with Mark Williams, who is the representative from Ward 4 of the Alameda County Contra Costa Transit District. Mark, again, I want to congratulate you as a young person, a young man who is doing great things, and we really do appreciate what you're doing as a representative on the transit board. Let's talk a little bit about what impact does the transit system have on our community?
It has a great impact. I didn't, until I got on the board and saw everything we do, I didn't realize how much of an impact. We have economic impact the economy. We're getting people back and forth to their jobs, especially now. A lot of our riders are people who don't have their own cars. I think it's like 42%. So they rely on us. They're essential workers, getting children to school. Although now most of the kids are, doing online classes.
Right.
We'll take kids to school. Like I said, our rider base, typically is low income. They're people of color, so they're going to their doctors. I mean, it fits everyone's needs.
What is the base? Is the ridership way down now because of the pandemic?
It is down. It was down around 56%. I mean, we're seeing steady ridership. It's, I'd say we're doing probably better than most transit agencies. We were able to get $114 million from the CARES Act, which really allowed us to allow our riders not to have to pay the fares, although at the 19th of October, later this month, we're going to start collecting fares again.
Oh, you're not collecting fares now?
We're not collecting fares now.
Oh, man, I should have been running out getting me a free ride.
Have you got on our new Tempo line? The BRT
No,
line?
I haven't.
I'll have to take you out there. So I'll go down regularly to see how things are. And, considering what was going on with the pandemic, I thought, ridership would be relatively low. And, we discussed it is, but we have a lot of people out there who are riding, and they need to get different places. So, I'm happy that we were able to, partner with the federal government, get those funds, build it. We were able to put 180 people who live in San Leandro and Oakland to work on that project. And these are people who are able to get skills in the trades, good union jobs that they can go on and go to other job sites. I mean, you see construction is still been a big boom in Oakland and Alameda County and all over the state. So these are jobs that are portable, that you can go and have a living wage. Like my grandfather's job at AC Transit, allow him to put his kids through school, to buy a home, a good solid middle class union job.
And I noticed, I guess, between seemed like High Street all the way out to San Leandro, there's been a lot of construction in that area.
So that was the
that all
BRT line, which is called Tempo. We just completed it a couple months ago. We have multiple stations along International or E14, however you say it. I know some people will term for it. And it's, we had some issues along the way with construction, and businesses were tearing up the streets, removing our parking.
Yeah.
But now that the project's there, we're seeing people take it. It's on our busiest lines, maybe hardly our busiest line, and we're looking forward to people using that transit to get to work, to get to school, to get to wherever they need to go, and to get to commerce along the corridor, which will help. There's a lot of businesses for Latinos and African Americans, Asians along the corridor, and support our community.
How are board decisions made? Do you guys allow people to come in and speak, or you just arbitrarily make decisions?
It's a public agency, so everyone has the right to speak. So they emails, they calls, you can text us. We have social media.
And you have regular board meetings?
We have regular meetings.
When are those meetings?
We have 2 meetings a month on Wednesdays. Sometimes we have a special board retreat. If it's I think it's 5 Wednesdays in a month. We have all these other committees like the Accessibility Advisory Committee. We have our own pension system, so there's a committee, and all those meetings are open to the public. You can go online and get our the agenda.
So your schedule, agenda, and everything is online.
It's online on our website.
Okay, so they can just www whatever and go in and find out when you're meeting. Do people normally show up for board meetings?
I have to say, previously, pre-COVID, you get people who you see every time, or they come every meeting, or they're there a lot. But now with COVID, being online, having Zoom meetings, we're getting a lot more.
Can you Zoom into a meeting now?
You can Zoom into a meeting. You can call and listen. We have them there. The meetings are audio recorded, so you can go back and listen to past meetings.
Now, does the district have a commitment to civil rights?
We of course we do. I mean, we have 3 African American males. We have a Latina on the board. We're a majority minority board, majority board now, and we take it very seriously. I can't remember, a meeting or 2 ago, we were able to pass a resolution supporting Black Lives Matter, something that I was able to get on the agenda. It's very important to me. I mean, we know that I don't have to tell people what the times we're going through, the things we're dealing with, and it's important. I felt it was important that we make that statement, considering the demographics of our passengers and also of our employees, to reflect that.
So, so you're saying that there is a real commitment to diversity on the board, and that diversity is demonstrated by.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at our workforce. We have 60% of our employees are African American. We have a lot of Latinos. We have Asians and whites. I mean, it's a very diverse system, a very diverse workforce base, and we want to make sure that we're reflecting what's out there in our community.
And diversity is important, and it's always good to hear that our public agencies are committed to diversity. And I want to congratulate you on your commitment. When I say your, I mean AC Transit's commitment to diversity. We're going to have to take another break. I know we don't want to have a break, but we have to take a break. We will be right back with All About Community. My name is Robert L. Harris, and I am your host.
In 2020, I think East Oakland deserves more. I think we deserve to stop walking in disbelief. I think we deserve to put an end to the grief that arises when someone says I can, but they don't, or they won't. It's way past time for change, and that change starts with her. Oakland deserves Treva.
Hi, I'm Treva Reed. I am fighting to move East Oakland forward for all of us.
To better manage traffic on 880, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission has converted the carpool lanes to express lanes between Oakland and Milpitas, giving solo drivers the option to pay a toll to use the lanes and ensuring that all users, including carpoolers and buses, get a reliably faster trip. Learn more about the 880 Express Lanes at expresslanes.511.org.
In 2020, I think East Oakland deserves more. I think we deserve to stop walking in disbelief. I think we deserve to put an end to the grief that arises when someone says I can, but they don't, or they won't. It's way past time for change, and that change starts with her. Oakland deserves Treva.
Hi, I'm Treva Reed. I am fighting to move East Oakland forward for all of us.
Hello and welcome back to All About Community. When we went to break, of course, I was talking with Mark Williams of Ward 4 of the Alameda County Contra Costa District, Transit District. Mark, let me ask you a question about bus routings. How are those decisions made? What input, if any, can we have? When I say we, the public, how do you make those decisions? Just come out of the sky?
Well, you know, we have planners, and they have plans, and they will bring them to the board during an open session, of course, where the public can participate. And the board will, you know, look at different options, you know, weigh, you know, cost-benefit analysis, weigh, you know, if this is...
So does the board weigh in on those decisions, or are they just made by staffers?
Staff will make recommendations
to the board, and the board approves.
Will approve or disapprove or ask for changes.
So if somebody had a concern about no bus service in a certain area, they could come and let those concerns be made to the board.
And I encourage them, you know, reach out to us on social media. You can email us. You can call, attend a meeting. Please let us know if you have issues. We want to know. And you know, everyone has 3 directors because there's 2 at-large members, and then there's an individual board member. So I would encourage you to reach out to all your board members. So there'll be the 2 at-large members in whichever area. So if you live in Oakland, more than likely your director, like I think Elsa Ortiz is the director in the area we're in right now. Or, you know, if you're in my area, hey, reach out to me and let us know.
Okay, well, what about environmental concerns? A lot of buses around. I assume that they have a lot of emissions that are inconsistent with clean air. So what, if anything, is AC Transit doing to reduce carbon emissions?
So our fleet is mixed with diesel, and then we have...
Oh, diesel, oh no.
But hey, you're not letting me get to the other good stuff. So we also have electric, and we have hydrogen buses. And because of the mandate that the state has, you know, given us, you know, we're looking to transition to those, you know, alternative fuel vehicles over time. So we're testing a hydrogen bus and electric bus on the same route to see what performs best. And if I had to guess, we'll probably have a mixed fleet. We'll probably eventually, as these buses are phased out, we're buying new ones, we'll have a mix of hydrogen and a mix of electric buses.
How soon if you know the answer to this, how soon will the diesel buses be phased out of the system? I just hate diesel because it pollutes.
I hear you, and I agree. It happens over. So we get federal money. We buy the buses. They have a certain shelf life, and then they're phased out. So it'll probably be years that we're doing this, but we're expediting it as much as possible. So the sooner the better.
Well, absolutely, the sooner the better. The better. Environmental justice, that's a different concept that a lot of people don't understand. My question to you is, does the transit system have an environmental justice policy? That is a policy that they will not do anything to endanger the African American, mostly African American, and other minority communities in which they operate in terms of pollution.
We don't necessarily have like a specific policy, but I know from all my work that we work very hard. Like, for example, my father, he grew up in West Oakland. He has asthma. You buy the port, you buy there's the freeways. So it's always been important to me to make sure that we're doing everything we can. So, like I said, we're phasing this technology. It's going to take time, but we're committed to making sure that we're being clean, we're being green, and that we're being respectful of our environment and our communities.
So you don't run your diesel buses primarily in the minority communities. That's usually when you get into real environmental justice issues. And then in the other communities, you run the clean buses. You said that you don't do that.
We switch the buses up, so you will see our electric buses. You will see our hydrogen buses all over the district.
Well, I'm certainly happy to hear that because, again, clean air is so important.
Agreed.
And it's always good to have a young man like you on the board to make certain that, you're keeping everybody honest. And really, that's why we need more young people on the board and stand abreast of what's going on. We're going to have to take a break, and as we do, again, I just can't help but continue to compliment Mark Williams for being a young person who recognized the importance of stepping out into the political arena so that everybody, especially our young people, can make a difference. Don't touch that remote. We will be right back with All About Community. My name is Robert L. Harris, and I am your host.
On November 3rd, East Oakland will make a critical choice. Your vote is about saving the Oakland we love. Shortages of affordable housing, homelessness, blight, and safety. And because we're at a crossroad, we need change. We need leadership that is responsive to the people. Marcy Hodge will see us through the challenges and fight for our district. Do your part, and she'll do hers.
I'm Marcy Hodge, your candidate for Oakland City Council District 7. Let's save Oakland together.
Many families are struggling in Oakland today. I've been there. I was raised in the Acorn Housing Projects by a single mom. She worked 3 jobs to get us out. Today, the restaurant I started provides jobs and second chances to formerly incarcerated people. The nonprofits I serve create opportunity for our youth. On the City Council, I'll bring Oakland together to finally address our biggest challenges. I'm Derek Johnson. Let's meet this moment together.
Hi, I'm Robert Bob Jackson. I'm running for City Council, and listen, I need your vote. I need your support. And also, I want to tell you that we're going to deal with affordable housing. We're going to deal with the homeless issues. We're going to deal with problems that's been in District 7 for way too long. I plan on making a change. Leadership you can trust. Vote for Robert Bob Jackson. I'm Robert Bob Jackson, and I approve of this message.
Hello, and welcome back to All About Community. When we went to break, we were talking with Mark Williams of the AC Transit Board of Directors. Mark, let's talk a little bit about the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19, and how has that impacted the district, and what are some of the things that you are doing?
It's greatly impacted the district like everyone else. Our employees are working from home. We've had to reduce the capacity of passengers And we know there's a lot of high demand out there, especially considering a lot of our employees, that's their only means of transportation and they're essential workers. Thankfully, we were able to get money from the CARES Act through MTC to install hand sanitizer and masks on our buses. So I know that's really important for people's safety and hygiene. We're wiping down our
So
bus.
if a person gets on the bus without a mask,
there's a mask there. Yes, there's a mask there, and you can sanitize your hands as well.
And I noticed you said that people are working from home, but there are some people that cannot work from home. You operate. I guess we call them operators.
It's called operators, yes.
Now, what are you doing to protect them?
So our operators, in the beginning, it was a mix of operator suggestions and our staff. We put up, if you're on our bus, see caution tape. So we gave our operators a certain amount of space and distance from people. We're also putting up barriers so that when we start collecting fares, that they have the barriers between them. They have masks, they have their PPE. So we've been working to keep the buses. So like the 40-foot buses, only 10 people are allowed on. The 60-foot bus, 16 people. So we're doing everything we can to mitigate the threat of COVID and respond appropriately with PPE.
Now, does that mean that you have plexiglass and stuff like that?
So we're working on installing,
okay,
full-on security barriers like they have in other agencies, and we have
so that the workers are
so they're protected.
Yeah, because it's so important because you don't know who's affected. So therefore, we want to do all that we can to make certain that the operators, the people who are there on a daily basis, having to do the work, are protected. Now, one final quick thing.
Yes.
Community relations program. Do you have any community relations program?
I'm here, aren't I?
You don't work for the district.
We have social media. We also have, in our audience is Chantel Reynolds with us. She does external affairs for our office. So we have representatives that deal with the community, that go out, deal with chambers, deal with organizations like that, Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce, different groups, and they're out there talking to them. We had someone dedicated specifically for the BRT, now Temple Corridor, going and talking to business owners, hearing their concerns. So yes, we're very much out in the community.
Actually, any final statement?
Just want to let people know that AC Transit is dealing with a lot of uncertainty, but we're working hard to make sure that we provide good quality service for you, for your family, to make sure that it's safe, that it's efficient, that we're using tax dollar in the best way possible, and that we're going to get through this together. That we're looking forward to continuing another 60 years. Actually, I think you mentioned, I don't know, the previous segment that you came in like the 60s. Actually, in 1960, this is our 60th anniversary of AC Transit now. So we're looking forward to being here another 60 years and providing quality service for the entire East Bay.
And we want to thank Mark Williams for being our guest, AC Transit Board of Directors, Ward 4. No matter what you do, when you do it, or how you do it, in the final analysis, it is still going to be all about community. I want to thank you for being our guest today, Mark. Thank you personally for being our guest today.
Thank you very much.
Again, my name is Robert L. Harris, and I am your host. All about community.